It's nice to sleep, isn't it? Just lay here, try and pretend that what's out there isn't happening. Yeah, it might be time to get up. It's not too easy, is it? Especially when people you love, people you care about are dying, literally dying, and you're hurting, both physically, mentally. You're barely holding on. It's not easy to deal with this, is it? I put my shirt on backwards. Now I'm okay. It's time to do something. So, I started my YouTube channel, I think in 2013, is just goofing around. I didn't, maybe earlier. No, it was earlier than that. I think it was like 2010. I'll have to check. Doesn't really matter. And like everybody in, you know, that time, where YouTube was just for goofing around. There was a handful of people who were taking it seriously, uh, doing their vlogging and stuff like that. I never really got into that, but um, I had graduated from film school, college, uh, and I remember one of my first, serious attempts at trying to do a film festival short film I made, and I posted it to YouTube. And throughout the years, I'd just randomly make different silly little videos uh, to post to YouTube. Never anything particularly serious. And I don't know. It was kind of that idea, I suppose. If something took off, then maybe I'd continue on that vein. But nothing ever did. I might get a couple of hundred views. Um, During my activist days, I was especially doing did a couple of interview videos that are still on my YouTube channel if you go way back. But in 2020, um, after the pandemic had already been going for quite a while, um, it was late in the year. My buddy Remington called me, and he had just, it may have been about a year earlier, that he had finished his college, uh, getting his college degree in law, and he had passed the bar. Uh, and so he was starting his serious law career, and he called me with this idea of he wanted to. And by the way, I had also done work on other YouTube channels, helping with editing and sound and stuff like that in those interim years. But in 2020, he was like, "Hey, I seriously want to try and start up a YouTube channel, giving people sort of tips on how to deal with cops, how to deal with judges, how to get a lawyer, stuff like that." Because he really had a passion for helping people, and especially helping people to understand their rights. Because so many people, I learned a lot of stuff from him. Here was, I thought I knew a pretty decent amount, and then he'd be like, "Oh, no, 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 don't ever do that, don't ever do that." Oh, okay. You tell me why. But, uh, So we decided we're gonna, start working on scripts, and I was gonna help him with the editing process of the scripts, and then I'd take and we'd record the videos and I'd edit them and, you know, add any visual effects or music or whatever to get it to a final product to be put on YouTube. And this was around the same time that Legal Eagle, his YouTube channel, first got really, really big, but he didn't ever see it as being, trying to be an opposition to that. It was, it was to be, another book, separate from what he did to help people. And so starting at the very beginning of 2021, we did a whole bunch of recording. And despite the fact that we worked on it and tried to get all of this stuff right, the audio sounded like crap. It no matter, it would sound, at one point it would sound like he was standing 50 feet away with his head in a trash can. And so I'd work on it and I'd get it fixed. And so, and we kept trying. We recorded, and then shortly after that was when I had my wreck, my accident that I was in. And that really kind of took me out of doing much of anything for a couple of months. And so he decided, well, hey, I'm going to record the videos myself. He's like, I think I figured I learned all how to set up all the lights and everything like you showed me. And so I'll record the videos and then I'll drive over there and give you a flash drive and you can edit them and do the rest of it. And I'm like, okay. And so he recorded, I think, 3 or 4 of the videos and brings them to me. And we were talking, so I never checked the videos that while he was there. And by the way, I should say he lived almost an hour away. It was like a 50-minute drive kind of situation. We're opposite ends of Houston. I'm north side, he's south side. So he, and then he leaves. I go back to my room and I'm like, well, let me see what we're working with. And I click on the video, the first video, and I just hear, I'm like, what? I click through it trying to see if there's anything salvageable, and you literally cannot hear a word. It's just this high pitched for 20 minutes. I click on the next video, same thing. Click on the next video, same thing. And I text him and I'm like, you sitting down? So yeah, we kept running into issues with those videos, and that was when I decided, well, I'd been working on my custom action figures, and I'd been doing that for a while, and a lot of people asked questions on how to do certain things, and I was getting fairly proficient at them, so I was like, well, I'll make a video on how to do that. And I enjoyed doing that, and so I was like, you know what, I'll start making more videos on stuff with Star Trek action figures and Star Trek toys and stuff like that. And so I started doing it every week, and I kept that up. Yeah, I occasionally took a week or 2 off here and there for different reasons. Of course, when I was having this my new room being built, I actually pre-recorded like 20 videos all in like a 2-day period. This thing in case y'all ever never caught on to that. Uh, if in some of those videos from a couple of years ago I sound breathless, it's probably because I'd already recorded like 6 or 7 videos, and now I'm like, um, that's why. But and uh, Remington, we'd still keep talking, and he loved Star Trek, and he um actually for my birthday one year gave me, oh, it was like 15 or so old figures that were still in the card and everything. And I've still got all of those uh, because I do keep some on card. And he he was just a constant, wonderful friend. Um, but then this year happened. And here's the thing, y'all know, if you've been watching me for a while, you know that my grandmother died a little over a year ago. My other grandmother died, well, almost 3 years ago. It was actually shortly after I first started doing the YouTube videos on a regular basis that I lost one grandmother, and then the other one was a little over a year ago. And in the middle of that was my brother-in-law, who has literally been a good friend of mine for nearly 20 years. You know, we were friends before he and my sister got together. And I'm sure y'all can go back and watch the video from that, because that was hard for me. I've lost a couple of really good dogs in the last couple of years. And then for some reason, around my birthday this year, and I'm sure turning 44 was part of it, it's that number kind of, it feels heavy. But with everything going on in my personal life, my health hadn't been real great. And things going on in this country aren't great. And it sucks. And in April, Remington called me and he informed me that he'd been diagnosed with lung cancer. And that his doctor seemed real hopeful about a plan of attack, and that they were gonna do it. They were gonna get it. And every time we talked, he always seemed real hopeful. He was like, it's gonna happen. It's like, I'm gonna be okay. He's like, I've got a 7-year-old kid that I want to see grow up, graduate, get married, all that cool stuff. And a couple of days before my birthday, he called me. And it was honestly kind of upsetting. Like, it was a wonderful conversation. We were joking and laughing, but there was something about his tone at the time that was like, I knew that may not be the last time we talked. And it wasn't, thankfully. But, I felt it. And then a few weeks ago, we talked. It was the first part of September. Because we were talking about. Cause he loves Legos and he loves Star Trek. And that was when Lego did the announcement that they were finally doing an official Star Trek set. And he was really excited. He was very excited about the idea to finally do a Lego set for Star Trek. And then a week later, one of our mutual friends posted on Facebook saying that he had died and she would miss him. And I started shaking. The last time that I had a panic attack was shortly after the wreck. Because I'd had a concussion and I was having memory problems. And I got confused and thought I'd locked myself out of the car. And it caused me to have a panic attack. And I don't do that often. I've really kept it in check for years. Before that, it was probably like 2015, 2012, something like that. I don't know. And I texted him, please tell me this is a joke. And then a little bit later, I got the phone call from the gentleman who is his partner at the law firm. He had gone over and his wife had asked him to take the phone and deal with some phone calls and stuff. Makes sense. I get it. And that first couple of weeks after that, I was way worse than I am right now. I was a mess. And I know that's not what he would want, and I'm trying not to. I'm trying to get it together. It's just really hard when you start losing everybody you care about. And it seems like the world doesn't care about anything at all anymore. But there's still a lot to fight for. And for a few days now, there's a quote. I don't have a clue who said it, but something to the effect of, the greatest thing that a person can do is plant a tree, knowing that they will never get to enjoy its shade. That's the kind of person Remington was. It's the kind of person I always want to be. And I try to put out, goodness. But it's hard. So, I say all of that to say to you that I'm coming back. I enjoy making videos. I enjoy sharing my passion for crafting and for making stuff and for Star Trek, because Star Trek is such a hopeful message. When my grandfather died back in 2002, it happened literally on the day I was doing finals in college. Excuse me. It was my second year of college, and I had to give a speech final that night, which means getting up in front of a classroom full of people and giving a 15-minute speech. And I remembered one of my grandfather's favorite quotes. And so I opened up my speech with the quote from John F. Kennedy. He was talking about the space program, funny enough. But it's about why we do anything. We do not do these things because they are easy. We do them because they are hard. And in Star Trek, Captain Kirk paraphrases that. Years after Kennedy gave that speech, I'm gonna keep doing it. I have to. Because it's hard. But hopefully, something I do might inspire somebody else to do something else. Thank you, my friends, for listening. I don't even know how long I've talked. I can't see the screen because I'll see you soon. If you enjoy my videos and want to see more, please like, share, subscribe, and ring the bell icon. If you want to support me, you can find me on Patreon or go over to Zazzle for prints of my artwork, t-shirts, and other cool stuff. If you're still here, why? Do you want to jam out?